On a crisp autumn morning in rural Oregon, 8-year-old Emma wandered through the woods behind her grandmother's house. Golden leaves crunched under her small sneakers as she collected the prettiest ones to press in her notebook. The air smelled of pine and damp earth, peaceful and quiet. As she wandered deeper, a flicker of movement caught her eye. Between two ancient oak trees, a shadow shifted. Curious, Emma tiptoed closer, her tiny heart beating faster. She hadn't expected to see anyone in these woods, especially not so far from the beaten path she usually explored. Then she gasped. A man was chained to a tree, his wrists raw and bleeding. His leather jacket was torn, revealing tattoos along his arms, and dirt smeared his face. Emma froze, unsure if she should run or help him. The man's eyes met hers, full of fear and exhaustion. "Please, help me," he whispered, his voice weak but urgent. Emma's hands trembled, but she felt a surge of courage. She knelt beside him, examining the heavy chains. I'll try," she stammered. The man nodded, grimacing in pain as he guided her on which link to tug first. Emma pulled at the first chain link with all her strength. It barely budged. Sweat dripped down her forehead, but she refused to give up. Each tug was a test of patience and bravery. The man encouraged her softly, offering reassurance and calm words that steadied her fear. A low rumble in the distance startled her. Emma's eyes widened as she realized the sound of motorcycles was approaching. Hundreds of engines echoed through the forest. The man whispered urgently, "Don't be afraid. Just keep helping." His trust in her gave her determination. She pulled harder, determined to free him before anyone arrived. Minutes felt like hours. The chains were stubborn, but Emma's persistence began to pay off. Slowly, one by one, the links gave way under her effort. The man flexed his wrists carefully as the last chain fell to the ground. His relief was palpable, and he gave Emma a nod of thanks that filled her with pride. The motorcycle sound grew louder, the vibrations in the ground unmistakable. Emma took a cautious step back. She had freed the man, but now she had no idea what would happen when the bikers arrived. The man sensed her fear and placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You've done more than you know," he said. As the first motorcycles appeared between the trees, Emma's heart raced. Hundreds of bikers, leather-clad and serious, roared into the clearing. The man she had freed stepped in front of her protectively, raising a hand to signal them to stop. The forest seemed to hold its breath as the bikers slowed to a halt. Emma realized that she had stumbled into something far bigger than herself. Her small act of bravery had freed a man who clearly belonged to a powerful group, and now she was standing at the center of a moment that would change her forever. The bikers' eyes were on her, curious and silent as she waited to see what would happen next. The rumble of hundreds of motorcycles filled the forest as the bikers came into view, circling the clearing like a storm of leather and chrome. Emma's small hands clutched her notebook tightly, her legs trembling. The man she freed stood firm, shielding her with a calm authority that contrasted the chaos around them. One by one, the bikers dismounted, boots thudding against the leaf-strewn ground. Their eyes were cautious but curious, scanning the scene. They weren't aggressive. There was an unmistakable respect in their posture. Emma noticed the tattoos, the chains of past stories marked on their skin. The leader, a massive man with a silver beard, stepped forward. The leader's gaze softened as it landed on Emma. "She saved me," the freed man said, nodding toward her. The words carried weight. The biker's expression shifted from tension to admiration. Emma felt a warmth rise in her chest. She had expected fear, but instead she saw respect in the eyes of these men. The leader knelt to Emma's level, his voice surprisingly gentle. "Your courage saved one of our brothers," he said. Emma nodded shyly, unsure what to say. The other bikers formed a protective circle around her, an unspoken promise that she was safe. It was a strange feeling, surrounded by so many intimidating figures, yet completely secure. The man she freed introduced himself as Rusty Hale. He explained briefly that he had been captured by a rival gang while traveling and chained as a warning. Emma listened, eyes wide, as Rusty emphasized that her bravery had turned the tide, allowing him to survive. She realized the enormity of her small act. The bikers began to speak quietly among themselves. Emma noticed nods and murmurs of approval. Rusty stayed close to her, occasionally giving her a reassuring smile. She didn't feel afraid anymore. Instead, there was a sense of wonder and pride. She had saved someone important, someone who commanded respect among 421 bikers. Rusty signaled to the leader, and the group relaxed. They didn't leave immediately. Instead, they offered Emma small tokens of gratitude, a keychain, a patched vest, symbolic gifts to commemorate her bravery. Emma accepted them, her eyes shining. She had never imagined such an encounter could happen in the forest behind her grandmother's house. The bikers mounted their motorcycles, engines roaring back to life. Rusty raised a hand in farewell, and the leader gave a final nod to Emma, a silent acknowledgement that she would always be remembered. Emma watched as the massive group disappeared down the forest path, a line of black leather and chrome fading into the distance. Returning home, Emma felt different, stronger, braver, and more confident. She knew she had witnessed something extraordinary. Her grandmother would never believe the story, yet the tokens in her pocket were proof. More importantly, the experience taught Emma the power of courage, compassion, and standing up for someone in need. That night, Emma lay in bed staring at the ceiling. The forest was quiet, the motorcycles gone, but the memory lingered vividly. She had faced fear, helped a man in chains, and earned the respect of an unlikely army. Her life had changed forever, and she knew she would never forget the day she stumbled upon Rusty Hale chained to a tree.